Hello and welcome to a Minecraft Let's Play video on the PC and another episode inside the world of Kelso's Carnival. Welcome to another episode in Kelso's Carnival How and Why series. In this episode I will go through a few of the games down the games path, open them up, show you how I ran the redstone, show you how I set them up, and show you the commands that I used. And we are here at the Connect 4 game. And I will show you how I made this game, the commands that I use in the command blocks, and the redstone that I did. So I've opened up the game. I've opened it up so we can see what's going on here. So the first thing, when you come up here to play the game, you have command blocks. These buttons activate these command blocks on both sides. And inside the command block is a set block command. Set block coordinates and sand. The one refers to the what type of sand it is. This is being redstone or red sand, and this being normal sand. So if you look at this one, it just says sand. So when you push that button, these coordinates correspond to that coordinate right up there. So if you look at this, negative 108, 72, negative 390, that is the same coordinate as if you look at the looking at over there, right, that one there. So yeah, one second here. Here we go. Looking at, so that one there, that's the same coordinate. It's actually x lower 1 because it's actually that block, not that block. But that's how that works. So if I push this button, you will see the sand spawn up there and then fall down because sand has gravity in this game. So that's the way, and each block works the same way. Depending on which block you push, it places a block up top. And because sand falls, it just falls on top of each other. You'll see the gravel down here. What that is there for is because otherwise, if the gravel wasn't there when you push this, your first placement would be buried and you wouldn't be able to see it. So that's how you play the game. The reset button works like this. So this lever is activated via a redstone trail that comes down, activates the command blocks. I'll show you what those are here in a second. But then also travels over here, travels down and around, repeaters to lengthen the signal, and then those repeaters power those blocks, which in turn powers those pistons. So when you push this lever, or flip this lever, it lets the pistons fall. Opens up, allows the gravel and all the sand to fall down. Because of the torches that are there, it breaks them into actual items rather than blocks. And when you flip the lever, pistons go back into place and you see the gravel respawn. So what's happening is after that gets the signal over to the pistons, I have repeaters here on full delay, all three of them, and they travel down these command blocks, and these command blocks are the same as the ones above. They are set block commands, and they place gravel right above them. So they place gravel in those spots. That way it repopulates the gravel. And that's pretty much it. It's a simple set block command and using sand to play Connect 4. And yeah, that's actually, it was a pretty simplistic game once I figured out the logistics behind it. The commands are very simple. It's fairly simple redstone. Again, it's just a lever with a trail over to some pistons. Pistons open, drops everything down to reset, and then some set block commands. All right, I will put this game back together now. So here we are at the Creeper Bowling game. And since the last video, I have made some adjustments. I've gotten rid of the chests and add some command blocks instead. But yeah, I will let me open up this one, and I will show you how I made this game. Alright, so I've opened up this game. This one, it actually looks more complicated than it really is. So I will go over the components that I have and then show you how I did it. So essentially, in the roof up here, I have dispensers, and inside those dispensers are creeper eggs. And those creeper eggs, when it dispenses, actually spawns a creeper, and they fall on top of these stands. I'll show you what those dispensers on the side there are for in a minute here. So that's the dispensers. It dispenses them down. You then have a clock, a time clock that runs underneath that activates these pistons, which pushes these blocks up and down on a timer that opens up the little holes where you can shoot through. And that's the basic concepts. The other thing I have, the dispensers on the side, those are full of arrows. So when you're done, it fires off arrows to kill off anything that's still standing there and knocks them into the lava. So the way this works is, so up to play the game, down to reset. So what I have here is I have a trail that comes down, feeds into this block, which makes this a inverter, which means this block is always live until that switch is pulled. When that switch is pulled, it pulls back this clock and doesn't allow this redstone clock, that's what this is, a redstone clock, to go. So when that is down, this is pulled back. Since it is up right now, that means once this redstone clock is activated, it will push this block in the way and allow the redstone signal to go around. The way it is activated is the button. This button over here on the side sends a signal down and around. And I should have opened this up. Sends a signal down over to this point, sends a signal down and around, activates this piston. Piston pushes over the redstone block and starts the clock, and the clock starts running. As long as this block, and again with the lever in the up position, this block is in place, it will allow that signal to keep going around. That powers this signal, which powers this piston, which pushes and pulls that piston back and forth, which sends a signal on and off to the pistons up above, which activates the blocks that go up and down. So that block going back and forth, come on, activates this signal that comes and goes up here. So that allows the pistons to go up and down. This button also, signal goes all the way around. I'm not going to open all that up because it's pretty simple. That signal goes all the way around up and goes up to the top and activates the dispensers that are up here. What I have in these are chests full of more creeper eggs and hoppers below them, so it automatically keeps feeding those the hoppers or the dispensers down below. So switch up, puts the block in place, allows the clock to go around. When you push that button, it sends a signal to the piston. That piston, that starts the clock. That powers around and pushes this in and out as the signal comes through and sends a signal down. So as it runs, it goes back and forth. I will power this up and show you how it works as far as that is running. It also sends a signal back and spawns the creeper. So now when you switch this lever to the down position, what it does is it activates, which turns this piston, it turns this redstone torch off and pulls this piston back, which would then stop the redstone signal. It also sends a signal up and around to the dispensers that are on the sides, which activates the arrow firing. This signal down here just goes over to the left side of the game, where that signal goes to the right side. So it looks more complicated than it actually is, but it really isn't that complicated with redstone. So I will open this, I will start this, and I will push the button to begin the game to start playing. That way you can see, so that button, what it did was activated and pushed that block over, and it started this redstone clock. So as this redstone goes around, you'll see this activate here in a second. The signal comes around, activates, and that piston going back and forth activates the pistons going upstairs. So as that goes around, it activates these pistons going up and down. And until you stop, once you stop, it pulls back this to stop the clock from going, and then also activates the dispensers on the side, which shoots the arrows. And that's how I did that game. It took me a little bit to figure out all the logistics on how to get things. The hardest part was actually how to fit it all into a closer area. But you know, again, it looks way more complicated than it really is. So let me clean up my mess I made here, and I will show you another game. Alright, so I have the mess cleaned up. I will show you this real quick. All these are our command blocks with a give command, give at closest player, arrows, 8 of them. And this one, give at player, bow, 1. Again, pretty simple give commands. But that's how I changed it, so I wouldn't have to keep keeping the chest filled over and over and over again. This is the You'll Shoot Your Eye Out game. This one's actually fairly simple also. There actually are no command blocks involved. It is all redstone and hoppers being used. And I will open this one up and show you how I made this one. So I've opened up this game to show you how this one works. And so the basic idea is you have a pressure plate that activates a redstone trail underneath. That redstone trail goes under, over, activates this redstone torch, which then in turn activates the dispenser, which will kick out a reward. And the dispensers are randomly chooses whatever's inside of it, whether it's a game token or an arrow. I just allow the dispenser to do its randomization on what it's going to kick out. But the redstone trail comes up, activates that redstone torch. The item pops out, and these are hoppers. And if you notice the way they're pointing, so that hopper goes into that one goes into that one goes down into this one. And this is a trail that runs all the way down and across, and all the ones above them drop down into them. And that goes all the way down, travels all the way down here, and all the way out, and out into the chest, where you would actually pick up your tokens. And that's really it. It's actually fairly simple. Again, whenever anything falls on that pressure plate, and I can't jump, whenever you have anything fall on the pressure plate, it activates the redstone trail. If I hop up here, you can kind of see. Let me actually grab that. So you can see the redstone lit up because I'm standing on it. And when I hop off, it turns back off. And that's pretty much it. And just using the randomization of a hopper to choose between a game token and an arrow. And then hoppers to convey the prizes over to the end. Again, fairly simple game. I try to keep things fairly simple when I do things. The more complicated you tend to make things, the more problems you have to figure out. So I keep things simple. So that's how this game is done. Let me know if you have any questions. I can comment about them, and I'll put this one back together. One brief thing about hoppers, if you don't know, in order to get them to connect, you look at where you want it to connect, hold shift, and drop your hopper. So that one places in there, and then this one, hold shift, and places into that one. Just a little tidbit just in case you did not know how to make your hoppers go in the direction that you want them to go. And that will do it for this episode of Kelso's Carnival How, Why. Hoped you enjoyed it. Hoped maybe even actually learned something. If you have any questions, feel free to leave me questions inside the comments below, and I will do my best to answer them. But as always, for now, remember, don't feed the trolls.
Job done.